Preachers on Beats, a 100-fold series.
Welcome to our music family.
Sometimes, I was telling you this because we come from a Christianity that's lost some of the fathering aspect of God. Because we say, grace, God's good, look so kind, true. He does discipline those he loves. Okay, so he's a father, good father. If you break your arm and it doesn't set properly and it rejoins crooked, what has to happen to that arm? You have to have the exact same break done again. A way that God works, not the only way, a way. I'm just introducing this concept to you, so as it happens to you, you won't be scandalized and reject it. You'll sit in the rest of God. If you get a deep cut, you wrap it up, but it gets infected, it doesn't heal properly, they have to make the exact same cut and clean it out. If you've suffered something in your life and it doesn't heal properly, it's broken, it's misshapen, and it's scarred and doesn't function. Sometimes God will break the exact same break, create the exact same cut. I, for some reason as a childhood, felt very abandoned and alone. Okay? My parents still married to this day. I don't know how that got in. But that was my default set. I am by myself and life is overwhelming. That was my childhood set. Okay, I had to fight this. When I was 30, so this is 30 years old, I'm in Beijing, very sick, life-threatening illness sick. And I just learned from my moving up being a Baptist, I just learned that God speaks to me. It was amazing because I thought that God only spoke to special people. And now I'm learning that God actually spoke to me. I, as a normal Christian, can hear and follow the voice of God. It was very precious to me because if it wasn't true, I'm back to being by myself. And I didn't want to test it just in case it wasn't true. This is by myself in the world again. And I was in Beijing. There's a church that's 2.5 hours away. I'm very sick. And this is how I learned to hear God's voice. Peace, no peace. God of the universe, I'm very sick. I should stay in bed all day. Can I go to the church 2.5 hours away? It's minus 18 degrees Celsius. And the wind blowing, so colder than that. And I felt, go, peace, don't go, stay here, go, felt peace. More peaceful, I should say, more peaceful. Okay, I don't say God the universe is telling me to go to church. So I got all dressed up in my multi-layers because my body couldn't even heat itself. I was just so layered up. Then you catch a motorcycle through the cold to the subway, and you catch a subway into town, into one Fuji, and then from town you catch another one out. And in there, I'm just holding my body. I'm just in pain. I feel miserable. I look gaunt. I weighed about 20 kilos less than this. And I had headphones in, and Bill Johnson was on the headphones. And it's a theme, isn't it? Bill Johnson, amazing. So much goodness has come from that man. And he said that God sometimes uses offense to reveal your heart so he can heal you. And foolishly, I went, I need to be healed. I went, okay, do that. Okay. And then I got out after 2.5 hours of travel, and just being out of bed for 2.5 hours was doing it in China, Beijing, before the Olympics, when there was no English or anything. Okay. Beijing before the Olympics was a very different city. I get out the other side. I want to go to Beijing International Christian Fellowship, which is a Chinese, Western church in Beijing. You need only Westerners can go in there. Only Westerners. Yep. And so I get there, and just before I left to go on this trip, I stood at the door. I said, God, is there anything you'd like to tell me? Anything at all before I leave the house? Okay, I'm going to leave the house. Leave the house. Everything's chained to me because I lose everything. My wallet chained to me, my keys chained to me. I was just so tired. I've left stuff everywhere. I've left phone chargers around the world. Sunglasses, hats, scarves. It's my gift. And then so I'm sick. I'm getting out. I get out of the subway. I called my friend Steve. I said, Steve, I'm coming to church. I'll meet you inside in a couple of minutes. He said, great, just show your passport at the door. I didn't bring my passport. And you can tell when God's after your DNA because you have a disproportionate response. Okay? Have you ever seen a kid at the shopping centre and mum lets go of their hand to maybe grab an apple? And now mum's not there. And I look, and I think, am I alone? And I realise I am alone. And then they just crumble. I crumbled. There's a 30-year-old adult. I didn't have my passport. I just crumbled. I was alone. I couldn't hear God's voice. No, not I couldn't hear God's voice. God didn't care to talk to me. So I stood at the door, I asked him. And now I know that God doesn't care for me. That was my absolute reality. This is my last roll of the dice, if I can use that term. Would God speak to me? I'm dying. I've loved him my whole life. I'm very sick. I'm dying. He won't even talk to me. This is the end. Like I don't have anything left. I rang up Steve again and said, Steve, I don't have my passport. And he says, oh, just use your driver's license. I've been traveling for 9 months. I happen to have my driver's license on me. God recreated the exact same situation, represented that situation of abandonment that got into me at some stage. Maybe it's my grandfather's, I don't know. Same cut. It's painful. But then he says, I was always with you. I never abandoned you. And I knew the whole time that he knew. I knew I'd go through that process. I remember Bill Johnson's words, and I forgave him. And God healed that. And that record, I don't crumble like I used to crumble. And then you get tested on that again, and that's when you know you have it. Okay? Just start walking out this life by choosing I'm there, and God will do it for you.